two dishes using Brady's ham. First thing I'm going to show you is how to pickle some shallots. So 300 ml of white wine vinegar, that goes into the saucepan, and then 200 ml of water. Add 2 ounces of golden caster sugar, then a good drizzle of rapeseed oil, a large pinch of the sea salt. So I'm just going to give it a stir, bring it to the boil. And traditionally this would have been a way of preserving vegetables, you know, to keep it. So what you're looking for is sweet and sour, so that you get the sharpness from the vinegar, the sweetness from the sugar. We're going to put in our shallots. So what I've done is soak the shallots just in some boiling water and simply peel them. It makes the skin come off easier, and these are lovely and sweet. And then what I'm going to put into this is some thyme. So just pick some thyme and pick the little sprigs off. We're going to let them simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes until they're nice and soft. Then we'll remove them and we need to reduce the syrup. So I can move on to my next dish, which is the gratin of leeks with the Brady's ham. I'm going to turn up my water, and what we're going to do is we're going to blanch off some baby leeks. Now, baby leeks are absolutely beautiful, and I think they're so underused. And in France, they're known as the poor man's asparagus. But of course, you can use asparagus when they're in season. So just make sure you thoroughly wash them. You remove the little end, and then just give them a good rinse underneath the tap, but keep them whole. They're lovely and soft and sweet and delicate. Into a saucepan, I'm going to put a pinch of sea salt, and just bring it up to the boil, and then in goes the leek. So this technique is known as the blanch. While that's oncoming to the boil, we can make up a very, very simple sauce that we're going to gratinate. That's what a gratin means, with cheese on top. So into the bowl, we're using some creme fraiche. And this is the Gleness one I'm using. Scrape that in. Into that, some Dijon mustard. We're going to put in some chopped chives, or you can use lots of other herbs. Chives is particularly good in this. Now what I'm going to do is keep some of the mature Kilmeaden cheddar back for sprinkling on top. So just a couple of handfuls of this. Now, so we're going to combine all this together. Just a pinch of salt and black pepper. And then we're going to mix this all together. So just hold the bowl in your hand. Just stir it. That's the creme fraiche. We have the Dijon mustard, the chives, and the cheddar cheese. So a nice kind of drop in consistency is what you want. So I'm going to leave that for a moment. What we're going to do is refresh our leeks. So we just started the cooking process. Switch it off, bring it over, and just be careful when you're doing this. And then we're just using the colander, drain off the water. Now to stop them from cooking any further, some cold water. So you can see they're nice and soft. That's exactly what you want. Give them a good shake, and then just sit them back into the saucepan. So what we want to do now is wrap them with the Brady's ham. Put them onto some kitchen paper. Dry them off. So you can have this all done in stages. You can have your leeks pre-cooked. You can have your sauce done, your cheese grated. So it's all about your preparation. So I'm just going to get one piece of the ham, which is beautifully thinly sliced, and just get your leek, and all you've got to do is just simply roll it up. And that's what you're looking for there, a nice coating of the ham. Now I'm going to bake these off in a Pyrex dish. So just butter, just with a little bit of butter, that's already done. And keep them all, that the tops of the leeks are all the same. This would be quite an old-fashioned, should we say, combination, leeks and ham. So roll them nice and tight. Pack them nice and tight. So we're ready now to finish this off. This is our sauce. We just simply scrape all this in, spread it over with the back of the spoon, and this will become really soft and give it loads of flavour. Then our cheddar cheese on top. And this is what a gratin means. So plenty of the cheese on top. Now, so that's ready to go into the oven. And what we're going to do is bake this off. The oven's already at 200 degrees. This is going to take between 15 and 20 minutes until this is lovely and golden brown and the leeks are cooked through and the sauce is lovely and warm through. Now, back onto our pickled shallots. Test if they're cooked. And it just depends on the size of the shallots. So these are nice and soft. What I'm going to do, and it actually is very overpowering. If you hold your head over, it's quite strong. Get the shallots just with a spoon and just lift them out of the actual syrup. And that's really what we've made, is a syrup with water, white wine vinegar and sugar. So I'm going to store them in these little Kilner jars. And there's something I really like about, you know, a recipe like this. It's very, very simple, but it can be a homemade gift, which is something that you've got and made yourself and give it to your friends and family. Now what we've got to do is reduce this, and we're going to put in some balsamic vinegar. I love this. This is a mature vinegar. This will be about 4 or 5 years of age. It's just a regular cooking balsamic. we're going to put some basil. And basil and the onions work really well together. I'm just using a fresh basil. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll the basil up, and we're going to cut this as what's known as a chiffonade, which is thinly cut basil. So curve your fingers, and we're using a large chef's knife, which is nice and sharp, and then we just chop this. Some nice thin strips. I love basil, one of my favourite herbs. That's going to go into our syrup, and we need to let this just cook. Give it a wee stir. This needs to reduce, so you don't put a lid on it, for about 5 to 10 minutes until it's slightly thickened. After about 10 minutes, when your pickling syrup is reduced, this is what it looks like. Slightly thick, and it has a colour of like a honey consistency. Taste it. I love it. I can taste the basil, the balsamic vinegar, and it's sweet and it's sour, and that's exactly what I want. So these were the shallots that we already cooked, and then we just pour it on. It's as easy as that. Get all the herbs in there, and then put the lid on it. And there you have your pickled shallots. Really, really easy. So these are ones that we've already done. They're cooled down, and the beauty about these, they'll keep for about 3 months. The longer you make them, the better flavour you'll get through coming through the pickling process of the shallots. So we're just going to serve this up with our baked ham, and just arrange these in a bowl. So get loads of that beautiful syrup on top. It looks beautiful. So that's our pickled shallots, and we're going to serve them with a selection of cheeses that we serve in the restaurant. And I believe we have some of the best cheeses in the world. It's the quality of our dairy. So the first one I'm serving it with is the Bellingham Blue, which is a blue cheese made in County Louth. The next one is a Kool-Aid cheese, which is made in County Cork, and it's a hard cow's milk cheese. The next one here is Corleggy, made in Cavan. Good friend of mine by Silke Crop, she makes it. And she makes the most wonderful goat's cheese and also sheep's cheese. And then the last one, which we have Collooney cheese, which is a cross between a Camembert and a Brie, made by Brady. I had the pleasure of meeting her home chef. So what we're going to do is just slice up our ham to serve with that, using a serrated edge knife, and just cut thin slices of the ham. So we just arrange this to the side of the pickled shallots. So the last 2 pieces go on. Now, that would be lovely for a family get together if you're having friends over. You know, the best of cheeses, some beautiful glazed ham, and your pickled shallots. Serve that with some wheaten bread or some crackers. Absolutely delicious. So I'm going to grab my gratin of leeks, which are in the oven. Beautiful. Now, beautiful and golden brown. So that's what's happened here, it's gratinated. Just before I serve it up, a little sprinkle of chopped chives. It works really well. Just put it at the centre of the table, and just with that we're going to serve some crusty bread. So there you have it, 2 very simple but yet very tasty dishes using some of the best of Irish ingredients. It's the gratin leeks with the Brady's ham, and a selection of Irish cheeses with pickled shallots and glazed ham. I hope you enjoy.